Hey guys, what is up? It is Bibluda7 here again, and welcome to another RuneScape 3 vlog here today. In this video, I'm going to be talking about this week's patch notes for the most part, because that is all that's really come out this week, unfortunately. It's kind of a pretty lame and boring week. I was a bit surprised to see the event hasn't started yet, though I believe they did announce it at some point last week that it wasn't coming until next week, which is like, the 24th. Like they announced that last week at some point, but I don't know, kind of expected it to be coming this week when it didn't come out last week on the 10th. That was a bit of a confusing way to work through things, but hopefully you get my point. But I guess they just want to release the Land Out of Time island thing coinciding with the end of the event, so the event will end probably in early or mid-July, and that will be when the update comes out. And I guess this means that the comp rework, big fat air quotes around that, is coming next week. So we'll have to see if they make any last minute changes to what they've been discussing for the past several weeks, or they just continue with what they had originally planned, or with what they had reworked for like the 5th time, but we'll have to see. And I forgot to grab some runes, but the first thing, and this is pretty much just patch notes, they go into a bit more detail on certain patches on the main update page, but it's just patch notes. And the first one I wanted to mention is because I'm already here. There's now going to be a buff icon or debuff icon on the monster's debuff or buff bar, whatever you want to call it, when you are able to use flanking. And it doesn't show up when I don't have flanking equipped. This is obviously my Staff of Sliske. I've got P42 and Aftershock 3 on no flanking. I'm lazy, so I have a Nox Staff with flanking and Aftershock 1 on it. I just haven't gotten around to getting another core or even a Singularity to put this on, because I got this a long time ago when I didn't know what was best. But for these, you have to stand north of them to be flanking. So if I put it on right now, you can see there's no icon, but then if I run around to the side where I am able to use flanking, and there it shows up right there. So you have this monster in a position to use the flanking perk. So if I use them, it does the damage that it should do, and then if I switch back, it takes it away. See, now my question is, if I run over here, so it only, oh no, okay, it got hit by poison. I don't know if it only updates when you hit the monster. No, it seems to just update whenever you move around. So that's pretty sweet that they managed to put that in, and it's a nice little change. It'll definitely make it easier to know when you are or are not in position to be using flanking. And it's also player specific, according to Shani on Twitter. So each player, even if you're in a group encounter, will be seeing that or not seeing it. So like if I was stood here, say this is, I don't know, AOD, where it's a place that people often use flanking, and I'm standing here, whereas flanking, I'm eligible to use flanking, and the base tank is standing over there where they're ineligible. I will still see the icon for my flanking, but the person who's not eligible will not see it. So it's like player specific, even though it is on the monster's buff/debuff bar. So that is awesome. Possibly something they can incorporate for other reasons going into the future at some point. Definitely a nice little change there for those of you who do have access and utilize that perk. Something they mentioned a bit on the patch note page had to do with the familiar action binding, or whatever they called it, keybinded follower action, which I don't really understand. I think, no, that's my prayers. Did that not? Oh no, that's Shift V for my prayers. Was it Shift Z? I think Shift Z is my follower action. Let me see here. Let's just fill up the pouch, or the pack. Yeah, does it take? Okay, it's cast winter storage. That's not what we want. Let me change that to take BOB. I don't even know what the frickin' binding I have for it is, but they mentioned that it will now work. Like, I thought it always worked before. I never had any issue with it previously. But this is what they have said specifically. A keybinded follower action now calls the function of your selected left click option as ever, this can be customized and the keybound action will now update to match. And I thought that this already worked. Like there's a button, or there's an option in here, Shift Z, familiar action. Like, yeah, see, like I just took BOB. Oh, and it still has the old thing of cast winter storage. So I've been using this in the past. Like I've been using this at Telos for taking from my beast of burden, or using my mammoth. I mean, I've always used that, and I've never had any issues with it not working. So maybe what they are saying is fixed is like this thing. You can do that. Maybe that wasn't working before, and now if I do that, it takes it. And then if I change this, that thing's still poisoned over there. And then if I change this to special move, it works. Like, I don't know, but like I had no issues with using that existing binding in the interface. So if you're having issues with it before, I mean, hopefully it's fixed, I guess. But that is that right there. And let's see what else we had here today. One small little thing, which really isn't that significant, but figured I'd mention, is that if you inspect a herb patch that is mid-growth, or, you know, I guess even if it is fully grown, it would still do this. It will tell you what herb is in it instead of just like this herb is growing, or like there's a herb growing in here, which obviously is nice to see that make it a bit, you know, make more sense. And then there's a couple of action bar bug fixes. One thing like that you might have had issues with, I know I did, is like if I drag on my sailfish soup here, previously it wouldn't update the picture here until I like relocked the bar or did something to update it. But they've fixed that, and just a bunch of various little issues that were apparently cropping up with the action bar, you know, just various random things that were happening. So glad to see that. They also said that teleport items will now teleport when used from the bar. I don't know if that, let's see if I put this in my pocket and what happens here. Activate. Okay. So I'm not sure. I've never really had issues with that before, because I don't even know how it worked, but I assume that maybe it would have like not activated it, or I don't know what the other option could have been for it, but they've made that a bit better, a bit more consistent across the many various teleport items that we have. You can now use them more consistently from the bar. And actually, speaking of that, let me take this out. They've also gone and changed, maybe it even says it in here. No, I guess it does not say. Oh, it does. This is a bit annoying because you can't really tell the difference, but starting right here, reward enhancer items have been removed and can now be toggled on/off at Wythian at the Mylir district within Prif. So I had some of those in here. What the fuck are these? Oh yeah, I had some of those in here from like the merchant and stuff, but they've now been taken out of your bank and put here. And this is a nice little bank saving thing, but it is a bit annoying for a few reasons that are outside, because there are actually quite a few bugs with this, but it's also just annoying because of the fact that you can now no longer choose when you want to be using them. Like in the moment, you have to decide prior to going wherever you want to go by toggling it on with it. Like this guy, it's kind of like a random guy who's there, you know, just here, and you know, he's all of a sudden an enhancer owner, but yeah, you now have to toggle it on and off before going wherever you're going, which is annoying. And it also, apparently they didn't even get converted appropriately. Let's see, just show me my enhancers. Oh no, this is not what I wanted. See, I don't know what these charges mean. Oh god, this interface is whack. God. I don't know. But yeah, it says charges here, QBD damage enhancer. Let me see if I do toggle enhancer effects. Oh, this interface is ugly. So see, look, I have Black Knight kill enhancer, current charge is 30. And then unfocused enhancers, current available 1. Apparently they've messed this up somehow so that you only have like 1 less than you should. But maybe they fixed that, because I have 100 exactly of that, and that sounds about right. This interface is very it's kind of like an eyesore a little bit. It's very small, and the text is pretty small. But yeah, apparently there was bugs like that, and it's just a bit of an annoyance. Gonna have to come to this guy whenever you want to turn on or off these things. So I don't know. I just don't see why they had to make it in an NPC. Like, could they not have just given you, like a singular item that you can use to modify your enhancers? Like, the main reason they say for doing this is to save bank space, and while it does save like 16 bank space if you had one of every enhancer, it just makes them a bit more cumbersome to use in general. But that's just my opinion. Hopefully they fix the issues and bugs people have been facing, but it just seems like a bit of a rushed type thing. Like, someone came up with this idea last week and was like, we got to get it in now, go, go, go. It's so great for QOL patch week. And it just didn't turn out to be fully vetted and tested, as most things tend to be. But yeah, that is it for the week pretty much. There wasn't really anything else worth mentioning in the patch notes, in my opinion. There really is not a whole lot exciting going on this month for the most part. All we have left now is the comp rework. Little update on this Telos streak that I've been incubating for probably like 3 months now. I managed to get a codex, and I'm at 61854 streak, so probably will continue this up to 1k. Maybe I can get an orb or two in there as well, but nice little drop. Pays for some of those bonds that I spent quite a pretty penny on, and hopefully we can get some more stuff before claiming that streak. And yeah, other than that, they did do a little teaser trailer thing for the Land Out of Time island, showing off some of the new hunter mechanics, and I'm not so sure how I feel about them. They're kind of like apparently a stealth mechanic, which any quest in this game that has had a stealth mechanic, it has been absolutely terrible. So I'm not really too excited about potential stealth mechanics for this hunter. Hopefully they do it all right, but it looks a little bit suspicious. And this is going to be where they introduce the PVM style drops for hunter, where whenever you complete whatever this hunter activity is, you'll have a random loot roll for a drop, and there's going to be a new tier 75 range armor, which is basically going to be like Ganodermic for ranged, which I feel fills a niche that is non-existent. I don't really understand why they are introducing that. Seems like a very strange thing to add. And they're also adding a Maul, which is a Hex Hunter bow, but for melee and against ranged characters. Unfortunately, it doesn't work for Solok, but it will work for, I guess they said, for the Ambassador and ranged Araxor. So we'll see how good that thing is. And it's going to be a 3-part assembly, so 3 untradeable parts that you have to get to make the full thing, which nobody ever really enjoys doing, but they seem to like that approach to weapons in general. But yeah, that is pretty much all I had to say on that. I'm not really too keen on stealth mechanics in this game in general, but we'll have to see how they do with it when it comes out. And there's going to be some sort of Slayer and agility training as well that they might talk about in the coming week or a couple weeks before the update. I just didn't feel like that in itself, made me want to make a video about. I figured just throw it in on this one. And it doesn't seem like there's going to be a boss with this island, which kind of sucks. I was hoping to see some sort of boss, like a T-Rex boss, a dinosaur, something like that, maybe a dragonkin type thing. But they didn't. They haven't announced or even teased anything, remotely along those lines. So it seems unlikely that it will be happening. However, I guess we'll have to wait and see for sure. Either way, you guys can let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Not too much to really give opinions on this week. I'd be interested to see if you guys were ever having any issues with the familiar thing, because I feel like it was never a problem for me. And what are your thoughts on the YVN enhancers thing? I'm kind of split on it. It is nice to save bank space, but it just makes them, again, in my opinion, a bit more annoying to use in general, and much less flexible as well. But Yeah, and then what are your thoughts on that stealth mechanic, I guess? Just interested to see if people think that's going to be good or not. Other than that, I will be releasing, of course, our normal Hardcore Iron Man episode this weekend as per usual. Hopefully I get those out on Saturdays. This weekend I had to do Sunday. Was a bit busy this weekend. So if you guys would like to check that out if you missed it, it is on my channel. Got a pretty sweet goal out of the way in that video. If any new news comes out that's worth making a video out, of course, I will always do that midweek. And yeah, next week, we guess we've got the so-called comp rework coming. So look forward to that. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace out.